My plan today is to do a full face of new-ish makeup. I have some products that I've been using off camera for a while, some new things that I haven't used before, so I'm excited just to sit down, do a full face today, and just chat about new makeup. I'll be using the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation today. I have this new palette by Lawless, and I don't think I've ever used their shadows before, but it's just like a beautiful neutral palette, so I'm excited to try this one. I also have some new Lawless eyeliners, fancy Giorgio Armani liquid blush. I have the Makeup Forever new loose setting powder, so I'm excited about these products today, so let's get started. I did do my brows off camera. I just used the Anastasia Brow Wiz in medium brown to kind of outline and everything and fill it out, and then I used the NYX Lift and Snatch pen in espresso just to add a little more hair-like strokes in there. Huda Beauty foundation has a natural finish to it, but I find that on myself with my more combo skin, sometimes it looks a little bit oily on me towards the end of the day, so I want to see how this matte primer helps the foundation wear. And this is kind of a newer primer from Benefit. It just came out, I want to say like 2 months ago. It does have a really nice kind of soft matte finish, but it doesn't leave me feeling like too dry or anything. And then for the Easy Blur foundation, I'm using the shade Shortbread, even though I think the shade Vanilla would be a better match for me, but this is just what I have. And I'm using a damp sponge to apply this. This is the Rephr sponge. There have been so many new foundation launches recently. We had this Huda Beauty one, the One Size Beauty a Full Beat foundation, the Sigma Beauty Skin Tint, the Patrick Ta foundation. You scared the shit out of me, dog. Okay, I think I was mentioning the Patrick Ta foundation, but that's the one that I haven't tried just because I don't think I would like it. It sounds like it's a bit too glowy for some people. And I think that foundation's just best for people with dry skin, and I have more combo skin. Out of those new foundations that I've tried, I wore the One Size Beauty for my brother's wedding the other weekend, and it wore beautifully throughout the day. Looked really good in photos. And then on days where I'm doing just like very minimal makeup, I'll use the Sigma Skin Tint because that one is a bit more hydrating, but it's not too glowy or too hydrating. And then for days like today where I want a little bit more of a full face of makeup, I'll use the Huda Beauty one. So it kind of depends on the occasion for the foundation, you know? So this Shortbread shade I think is the right undertone for me, where it's a little bit more, I think it's pinky beige or rosy or just like pink undertone, neutral pink undertone. But the shade is just a tad bit too dark. Then I'm gonna take my NARS Soft Matte Concealer in Vanilla and use that to spot conceal. This is my go-to concealer for spot concealing, and at this rate, I'm going through one a year, which I feel like is pretty good. Then I'm gonna blend that in with a concealer brush. This is the Sigma F72 Soft Angled Concealer. This is kind of random, but I've had to switch up where I place my mirror when I'm filming because I'm having so many neck problems right now. About 3 weeks ago, I woke up and I was having such weird neck pain, and I felt like I remembered sleeping in a weird position. And I told my boyfriend, and he was like, yeah, when I left for work that morning, you looked like a pretzel. And since that day, I've just been having like so much neck pain and like pain in my shoulders and my traps. So I have an appointment to go to a chiropractor next week. But I noticed that when I'm doing my makeup and filming, I'm like cranking my neck in these weird positions, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's the problem too. So that's why the angle might be a little bit different, in case you're wondering. Next, I'm gonna add my under eye brightener. This one's by Catrice in the shade Light Rose. I've had a lot of people ask me if I like this color corrector more than the Sigma one, and I have to say yes for quite a few reasons. First of all, you get so much product in this jar, and it is so pigmented that you only need a tiny amount when you use it. When I just used that, I really just dipped my brush in there once, and that was more than enough product for both eyes. And because it's Catrice, you know, it's just more inexpensive than Sigma, so this one definitely has been my go-to. Now for cream blush, I have two options, but let me tell you what I'm thinking. So I received the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Cheek Tint in PR, which is kind of crazy because I never thought I would receive PR from a luxury brand like Giorgio Armani. But they sent 3 shades of their blush, and this one stuck out to me because it's just like a beautiful neutral pink, which is exactly what I like to wear on a daily basis. And I only used it once so far, but I really liked it, so I want to use this again. But then I also received these It Cosmetics Sun Blushes in PR as well. And this is supposed to be kind of like a bronzer where it's a blush and bronzer in one, and I do like the bareMinerals bronzer, so I was like, ooh, maybe I will like these. But they're such a unique color. So this one's the lightest one, 10, this one is 20, and I even read the reviews on Ulta, and they had really good reviews too. So I want to try the It Cosmetics and maybe do this on top if I want to add more. This is my first time trying this. I think I'm going to try it with a brush at first. It's the BK Beauty 109. Like, I don't know how pigmented this is, how much product I need to pick up. Is that too much? Probably. Whoa! Okay, that's very pigmented. Look at that. Okay, I'm tapping it off on the back of my hand. It feels like really wet on my face, but not in a bad way. It feels so creamy. I really haven't used many IT Cosmetics face products, but I know that it's such a staple brand for a lot of people, especially like the CC cream. When I worked at Ulta, I would sell that all the freaking time. And then since it's supposed to be a bronzer, I'm gonna apply it to my forehead too as bronzer, I guess, and see how this looks. See, this kind of looks like a sunburn, doesn't it? Like on my skin tone, this is what my burn looks like. Okay, wait, I actually kind of like this. I have been fake tanning less, so that means I'm doing my makeup more when I'm pale, and I have been kind of struggling to find a bronzer that works for me when I'm this fair. So like, was this the answer, having a pinky blush? But like, it looks like a sunburn. I'm kind of shocked. I actually like this way more than I thought I was going to. These IT Cosmetics bronzers, they're not new, but it's clearly new to me. This is my first time using it. I think I definitely would have liked this product even more in the summer. I mean, now we're in October, but I like that. And that was the lightest shade of Sunlit that I used. But now since I did that, can I put the Giorgio Armani on top? I'm going to. This is the shade 62. This is just such a gorgeous neutral pink for every day. And that's really what I like to go for. I used to love the Luminous Silk Foundation, but I haven't used it in years. I'm kind of putting this blush all over because I will still do my under eye concealer. But yes, it definitely is luminous. And then for under eye concealer, I'm using new bareMinerals Bare Pro Concealer in 150 Cool. I've had this concealer for a few weeks now, and I really do like it. It has a pretty large doe foot applicator that does pick up a lot of product, so I do find myself wiping off the wand in the tube before I use it. But I love the coverage that it gives, and it has more of a natural finish. It says it's a matte concealer, but it's really not that mattifying. And I'm using that same Sigma concealer brush to blend this out. Then I'll go back to my cream blush brush and just kind of tap over where the concealer and blush meet to kind of blend them together. Now before I set everything, I'm gonna prime my eyelids with the Rephr Beauty eyeshadow primer. Now I'm going to set my entire face with the new Makeup Forever HD Skin Shine Controlling and Blurring Setting Powder. This is another newer product that I've been using for a few weeks now, and I just find myself continuously grabbing for this powder to set my face. And it has more of a natural matte finish that helps to get rid of any shine, and it's long wearing as well. So I'll use a puff to set under my eyes, my eyelid, my smile lines, just kind of the areas that get a bit more oily or tend to move and have product settle in throughout the day. But I love showing a little side by side. So this side is mostly set, just not this cheek area yet. And that is with nothing set. I remember last year they came out with that more like color correcting loose powder that was one of the ones that like shaves the powder when you twist the packaging, and that one was just absolutely terrible. I remember it looked so shiny and it also made me look very ashy. It was just not a good powder at all, so this one's definitely like a redemption powder for them. And then I'll just use a fluffy brush to set the rest of my face. So I don't need a ton of powder on my cheeks and everything. Like I said, it's more just like the lines and the place that product tends to crease and settle. And then even with setting my face, I can still see the color of the blush and bronzer underneath, but I probably will add a powder blush on top. But if I want to add more blush, I need to do my eyes first to figure out what colors I'm working with today. Again, I'm using this new Lawless palette. What is it called? The Dreamy Dozen Volume 2. So apparently there's probably a volume 1 that I have never used before. So let's zoom in and do an eye look with this palette. I don't think I'm gonna do anything too dramatic today, but I'm excited to play with this formula because I've never tried it before. So I'm gonna take this more kind of medium tone warm brown shade on a fluffy packing brush. And I'm gonna start by just packing this shade in my upper outer crease. And then I'm kind of bringing that shade down towards my lid, so it's kind of on the entire like outer part of my eye. I'm dragging the shadow outwards a little bit, and I'm kind of imagining like a line right there. And then once there's less product on this brush, I'm going to start to soften out this line. I'm gonna pick up a bit of this more vanilla shade on the same brush and kind of use that to help blend out this line. I always love when a palette has a light kind of blending shade like this. For me and my light skin tone, this shade just really helps to soften out the edges of the shadow. That worked out really, really nicely. On that same brush, I'm gonna take a bit of this deeper brown and I'm gonna add this more on the outer part of my lid. So I'm keeping this brown shade lower than I did with that first one. Now for my lid, I'm going to pick up this shade on my finger and I'm going to place that on the inner blank part of my lid. And this shade does have a bit of a yellow undertone in it, so it will go nicely with these warmer browns. This shimmer formula is more like your classic shimmer formula. It's nothing crazy, nothing foiled and sparkly, but it does just look very soft on the eyes. Now I'm going to take more of that medium brown shade on a small smudge brush and apply that on the outer part of my lower lash line. I'm very impressed with the pigment in these matte shadows, and I'm getting no fallout as well. And then taking that vanilla shade on the same brush and using that to soften out the brown. Now I'm going to pick up this lightest shimmer. I'm going to pop that in my inner corner. Ooh, that's a perfect highlight shade. I love that. I just love a bright shimmery inner corner. I think it's so pretty. Also gonna bring that under my brow as well. And then Lawless also sent over these Easy Eyes Ultra Precise Liquid Liner. There's one in brown and one in black. So I wanna try this today too. I think I'm just gonna do a small little wing and I'm gonna use the brown shade Cocoa. Okay, that is a small baby wing, but I'm kind of realizing I don't really like how harsh a liquid pen looks like this, so I'm gonna add a little bit of a darker shadow on top just to make it look a little bit softer and kind of smudgier. So I'm gonna take that darkest brown in the palette on a tiny angled brush, just run that right on top of the liner. I also find that the shadow helps to fill in any gaps where your skin might be peeking through the liner, so it really just does give the liner a smoother look. Okay, I'm not obsessed with that wing, but that is what I'm working with today. I'm gonna go ahead and get this eye caught up and do some mascara and lashes. All right, both eyes are done now. I went ahead and popped on my mascara and lashes, and for my lashes, I'm wearing the Bright Lashes Half Lash in Whisper. This is my most natural style half lash that I carry because it's shorter than all of my other styles. So this one just blends really nicely into my natural lashes and sits right out there on the outer corner. Now, like I said, I do want to add a powder blush on top. I don't have a new one, but I do have a new-ish one, which is the Kosas Blushes Life. I have the shade Dreamland because I bought this one myself. I honestly haven't used this blush as much as I thought I would when I bought it. Like when I saw these baked blushes, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna love them. I wanted to buy like 3 different shades, but I'm glad I only bought the one. And it definitely wasn't an impulse buy for me, but it's just a very soft blush. Like it's a good blush, I guess. It shows up, it wears well, but I'm not like blown away by it or anything. Like it's good, just not amazing. So I think that's why I don't really grab for this one a lot, but I am very happy with the shade that I picked. Now I also received a package from Saie, and I think they did a shade extension of their lip oils, or is it gloss? I don't know, what is it? Glossy Bounce. And I think I want to pop one of these on. I think I'm leaning towards this one. This is in the shade Disco. So I'm just gonna pop this on my lips as is. And then I'll just add a little bit of lip liner where I feel like I need it. I don't really like to outline my entire lips anymore. I just like to add it where I need to fill in my color a little bit. All right, and that is the full face of makeup with some new and new-ish products. I gotta say, the product I was most surprised by today was definitely the IT Cosmetics Sun Blush. I am very excited to keep using this because I love the shade that it gave me for a bronzer. It kind of gives that more sunburnt look, which is what I like, especially when I'm so fair. And then I thought the shades in the Lawless palette performed really well. The mattes were really nice and pigmented, but also blended out perfectly. And like I was saying, the shimmers in here are more of your just like softer toned shimmer. It's not super glittery. It's not one of those like topper sheer shades that have a lot of shimmer to them. So if you're someone that just likes that classic shimmer and needs a good neutral palette, I think this is a great option. As always, I'm gonna list and link all the products I used today down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.